Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into this. All right, we're going to pull up this screen. These are not my favorite subjects, that's for sure. I don't like it when our players get arrested, and I don't like Finebaum talking a bunch of crap about something he doesn't know about. But we're going to get into both. So let's start with the most negative news here, which is McCullough being arrested. And here we're going to look at Josh Heupel addressing the situation. It says safety Jalen was charged with aggravated felony assault on Sunday evening following an incident in an apartment complex near campus. It says Tennessee head coach Josh Heupel addressed the situation during his weekly press conference on Monday, saying he would gather more information about the situation and will have more for you then after learning about it late Sunday night. It says as they gather information, we'll have a conversation based on the facts of it and go from there. It says, according to the arrest warrant from the Knox County Sheriff's Office, police responded to a call, made contact with the victim who had blood and swelling on his mouth, multiple missing and broken teeth. The victim told police he had been drinking with friends that live in the apartment complex where the alleged incident happened, and when he returned after getting some items from a car, he had gone into a different building without realizing it. He said he went to an apartment he thought was his friend's and entered the unlocked door after he knocked and no one answered. It says, per the arrest warrant, the victim immediately realized he had gone into the wrong apartment. He apologized, closed the door, and began walking back towards the stairs when an unknown male pursued him out of the apartment. The victim again apologized and told the male he didn't have to be blanking about it. So you can probably figure out what that was. Before he kept walking away, and then the guy followed him, said he heard footsteps, and then he punched him. Said he fell downstairs and lost consciousness. Says police eventually made contact with McCullough's girlfriend, who called him back to the scene. Per the arrest warrant, McCullough had his right hand in bandages and blood showing through the bandage. They found blood on the stairs. Says McCullough did not answer any questions and was taken into custody without incident. So let's see if I'm understanding this right. A guy's drinking on a Sunday afternoon. He's drunk to the point he's not sure what building he's going into that he just left, where his friends live. And he goes up to walk back in, knocks on the door of where he just left. Nobody answered, so he just let himself in. What would you do? What would you do in that circumstance? And McCullough probably has been told, hey, if you're ever arrested, you just keep your mouth shut. That would, that's probably good advice. Just shut up, get an attorney, and we'll sort this thing out and get all the facts straightened out. So that sounds like what's going on, and I'm sure Coach Heupel will take a good hard look at this and get Jalen's side of the story. So I'm going to hold judgment on this. This is not like the other two suspensions for me. Now let's get into this Paul Finebaum, who's always running his jaw. Look, the guy's a professional mouthpiece. That's what he does, and he loves stirring up crap, which is fine. Finebaum suggests Heupel to Oklahoma. So let's talk about that crap. First of all, this was a concern last year because it was obvious that Heupel was an excellent coach and that, look at the things that he's done. He took Missouri from like 113th in offense to like 23rd, almost 100 spots better. He's done the exact same thing for us. I think we were 5,001 in offense, and there's only like 135 schools, but they made a special place for us when Pruitt was here. And now we're number one. In 2 years, he's made us number one. Last year, we were up there, but this year we're number one. So he's done a phenomenal job offensively, and our defense is a lot better than last year. Even though it's still not great, it's a whole lot better. So things are really trending in the right direction. And while I was concerned last year about him going to Oklahoma, them stealing him away just exactly like the Lane Kiffin situation, I'm not nearly as concerned this time because now I know all the information about what happened to him in Oklahoma. And this is a story I remember reading last year, and it says one reason why Tennessee Vols fans should feel confident Josh Heupel won't leave for Oklahoma. It says there's no indication that Tennessee Vols head coach will be in the mix for Oklahoma job on Sunday when Lincoln Riley, he took off on him and left him hanging and took like a ton of players with him, the starting quarterback and a whole bunch of others. It says, but you can excuse Vol fans for being concerned given what happened with the whole Lane Kiffin situation. So there's one reason why fans should not be too concerned. Bob Stoops, who was heavily involved in Oklahoma sports and football, I mean, he's probably the grand poobah of all that crap, said he fired Josh Heupel. And, of course, at the time he was serving as the interim head coach, And like I said, he's still super involved with Oklahoma. And you know he played a huge role in hiring Brent Venables. And it talks about where Stoops fired Heupel, who was serving as the offensive coordinator because he wasn't going to fire his brother, Mike Stoops. And Josh Heupel said, "Thank God it happened." Although Heupel says he is over the disappointment of getting let go by his alma mater, should be noted he has not spoken to Bob Stoops, his old college coach, since the day he was fired. It says it's hard to imagine Stoops and Heupel suddenly rekindling their relationship. As far as who eventually takes the Oklahoma job, we know it was Brent Venables, and let's see how much he's getting paid. And remember, this is year one for Brent Venables. He's not going anywhere this year. There's no way they fire him the first year. But here's where Finebaum suggested Josh Heupel as a replacement. It says they just got beat 49-0. They didn't have their starting quarterback, and Texas just got their starting quarterback back. And they're talking about Brent Venables. He was the defensive coordinator at Clemson. And, of course, they've had a great defense every year he was there. And he had turned down a bunch of head coaching jobs elsewhere, probably at Tennessee as well. But when they got beat 49-0, everybody's upset in Oklahoma. And Brent Venables was looking for a great job. You know, he had lots of options, and Oklahoma was a really good job, so he took that one. And let's take a look at his contract terms. Okay, he signed a 6-year, $43.5 million deal, and he makes $7 million a year. So they probably have to pay darn near every penny of that to let him go. So I don't see Oklahoma paying $43 million, and then to get somebody else, they're going to have to pay at least that or more. And I just don't, I don't see them letting him go at least until he's gotten into his second year at the very earliest. That would be kind of ridiculous. You got to give a guy a chance, especially when the guy that just left took all the best players with him. That's just not right. You've got to give a guy an opportunity. And again, his starting quarterback was out, so he had his backup quarterback, which, that probably wouldn't have changed it a ton, but they would have scored some points. And this is why I tell you, never trust national media. They never, ever give a crap about Tennessee, and they'll throw them under the bus in a second and happily do so. This is what the national media would do if Heupel left. Oh, yeah, they would love it, and they would really get a kick out of it. Now, I have been saying for about a year now, we need to re-sign this guy to a long-term deal for a lot of money. I know that seemed kind of rash last year. Now, I didn't have a channel at that time for Vols or any of that, but I was telling all my friends, we got to get this guy. I was telling both my brothers and all these guys, look, we better sign this guy long-term. Somebody's going to see how good this guy is and steal him away from us. So I'm ready and been ready to sign this guy to a very long-term deal for a lot of money. And I don't want this offense leaving this state, ever. It's too good. It's too much fun. It's too entertaining. Look, even if we don't win a national championship, which I think we will, even if we don't, this is the most fantastic, fun offense I've ever watched, and I don't ever want it to leave. I want this offense forever. So it comes down to this. It's time for the University of Tennessee, especially, God, if he beats Bama or something like that, everybody's going to start ringing his phone off. They probably already are. I'm sure Auburn and Nebraska have already tried to contact him. I'm sure they've talked to his manager, to his rep, and I have no doubt of that. So we better get our money squared away over there at University of Tennessee. I know they just re-signed him to an extra $1 million a year, but he's still in the bottom third pay to the SEC, and he needs to be in the top third real quick. It's time for the University of Tennessee to show him the money.
Show me the money!
That's right. Sign him long-term with a big buyout to where these other universities can't, they can't pull it off politically. Because, here's the deal. Even if Oklahoma's got the money or another school or whatever, they're going to have some huge payoff of some other coach. Then they're going to have to come up with all the money for the next coach. So I just want to take that off the table and just make sure we keep this guy long-term. In my next video, I'll be covering Bama and talking about the game coming up. But just a lot of crap in one day to deal with between Finebaum and this unfortunate incident with McCullough. That's just really unfortunate. But we'll get on to Alabama here, and here's one positive thing about this. If there's any positive thing about the McCullough, and there's not, is that, number one, he'll probably get suspended. I don't know. It's hard to say until we get more information. But they do have a week to get his backups ready to go, taking first-string reps if that's the case. So I don't know. I hate it for the guy. I really do. Somebody walks into your house and drunk Well, that's just tough, man. That's a tough situation to respond to and to be calm about it. So anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover the Vols. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.